So what we talked about today was ordering decimal numbers. So let's start with two numbers here. We have 527 thousandths and 521 thousandths. Now to show you why it's important to line them up with their decimals right on top of each other, I'm going to put these numbers in a place value chart. So that's 0.527 and 0.521. And the trick that I taught them is to take a little post-it note here, and I have a virtual post-it note, and cover up the numbers after you've lined them up like this, and then just check each place value. So the ones are on top of the ones, and we check, and can I see which one is larger from this? No, I can't. So I move over to the tenths place. So I have 5 in the tenths place for both numbers. I still can't tell which one is bigger. So I move to the hundredths place, and they both have a 2 in the hundredths place. So I still can't tell which one is bigger. Then I move to the thousandths place, and I can see that this one is bigger because it has a 7 in the thousandths, and this has a 1 in the thousandths. And it's as simple as that. So that's the main trick that we did today. So here's another problem. We have 3.576, 3.432, and 3.582. So we're going to put those in order. I'm just going to type them out right on top of each other so that the decimals line up. They are nicely lined up, and I'm going to take my little post-it and cover up the numbers. So then I move it over to the right, and if I were going to put this from least to greatest, I don't have enough information here to do that. So I move it over to the right, and now I can see that the smallest one is visible. This 4 is less than both of these 5s. So this one is the smallest, so I'm going to say that one is number 1. So next, well, I can't tell which one is next yet because this has a 5 in the tenths place, this has a 5 in the tenths place, so I move it over. Well, I don't want to get confused, so I'm going to cross this one out temporarily. And now I have these two numbers, a 7 and an 8. And so the next one is going to be a 2, or next one is going to be this 6 up here, this 7 up here, and then the last one is going to be this one that has an 8 in the hundredths place. So I just ordered them. I don't care what these last digits are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make one bit of difference because I've already put them in order by looking at them one place value at a time, and that's what I wanted the students to use as a tool. Once they did that, they found it pretty easy. So next we have this one. This is a tough one. Now we have a bunch of decimals that are different lengths. This confuses kids a lot. They see that this has 1 digit and this has 3 digits, so this must be less. Well, actually, this is less because this has a 1 in the tenths place. This is a 4 in the tenths place. So there's the easy way to put these in order. Line them up by their decimal points. Now, usually, a lot of times, when you have numbers that are different lengths, I like to put zeros in all the spaces until they're all the same length. In this case, it doesn't matter because the tenths place is all different for all of them, but if it wasn't, putting zeros in all these spaces would help. And as you can see, they're all to the thousandth place now. Much easier to see. You could look at it like, well, this is 750 thousandths, 400 thousandths, 375 thousandths. You could just think of them like whole numbers. 800 is bigger than 400, bigger than 375, bigger than 250. But we're going to use our post-it to order these. So I'm going to cover up the numbers up through, just cover everything up except the first digit. And here they're all zeros, so obviously I can't tell which one's the biggest. And here, now I go to the 10th place, and they're all different. It's very easy to tell now which one is the biggest and smallest. So this one here is a 0. That's the smallest. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8. And there I just put them in order. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8. If I just pop this 8 up to the top, then I would have them in order from greatest to least. So much easier than looking at it like this and seeing all these numbers and getting stressed out about it. Now on your homework, there are problems like this where you just have two numbers right next to each other, and you have to figure out which one is, whether it's less than, greater than, or equals. Now, I taught the students, and if you forget which one to use, remember that this is like, this sign is like a mouth of like an alligator. No, I can't draw very well. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, so this is like a mouth of an alligator. It wants the bigger number. It doesn't want the smaller number. And it could also go the other direction, like this. It always wants the bigger number. So if you're not sure what the sign should look like, remember that part. Okay, so this is my less than sign in the middle of this monster's mouth, and this is my greater than sign. So that's how you can remember it. It wants to eat the bigger number. So, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these really quickly. I'm just going to type out the numbers on top of each other instead of side by side. It's much easier to tell. It's much easier to tell if they're on top of each other. 4.563 and 4.536, and let's say we have Post-it note here. Can I fill it in? I don't know. No, it's not gonna work. Yes, here we go. Okay, so I have my Post-it, and I'm covering up the number, and then I slide it to the right, and I can see right now that they're the same number, so I can't tell which one is bigger. Move it to the right some more. I'm in 10th place. Still cannot tell which one is bigger. Move it to the right. Now I can tell which one is bigger. This one is bigger because 6 is bigger than 3. So the monster wants to eat this number. Okay. Now let's try the next one. We have 5 and 640 thousandths and 5 and 64 hundredths. So let's check that out. I'm going to type that out. Well, one thing I would suggest that because there's a space here, I put a 0 in that space. And after I do that, I can see that these two numbers are equal. They are equal. So I'm done with that one. Now let's do this last one. 8.673 and 8.637. Wow, they're very similar. It's kind of challenging. So let's see. So I'm going to slide this to the right, and I have an 8. I can't tell which one is bigger. I slide it to the right again. I have a 6. Still can't tell which one is bigger. I slide it to the right. Oh, I have a 7 and a 3. So the one with the 7 in it is bigger. So there you go. My alligator wants to eat that one. So then you'll have problems like this, and that just gives you four numbers, and you put them in order. So I'm just going to do one of these. I'm going to type out the numbers: 2.007, 2.714, 2.09. Remember, you got to line them up by their decimal points. That makes it so easy. And I'll use my little post-it note here. And right now I can't tell which one is biggest. We're going greatest to least, so I want the biggest one, and I can tell what the biggest one is now because this has a 9. It's bigger than all of these. And then the next one is a 7, so I can tell which one's bigger. And I have a 0 and another 0. I can't tell which one of those is bigger, so I'm going to move this to the right. And I don't want to get confused, so I'm going to cross these out. So I have a 0 and a 9. Oh, this one is bigger. So that's the third one. And then this is the fourth one. So then I would just rewrite these accordingly, like in order. 2.97, 2.714, 2.09, and then 2.007. And these other digits ended up not mattering, so I can ignore them. And finally, we have a problem like this. Now this shows you an inequality. It has this number is greater than this number is greater than this number. Now this has a blank in it. That stands for a digit, okay? So I'm going to type out these three numbers. I have 3.59, that's my largest number. Then I have 3.5 blank 1. We don't know what that blank is. That's what we're trying to find out. And then we have 3.572. Oops, 2. So I need to figure out what goes in that blank. So I'm going to use my post-it note again, and I'm going to move it over here to where the blank is. Now this column is the same, this column is the same, this column is not the same. Now this is the biggest one, the one on top. This is the smallest one, this is on the bottom. I need to figure out what goes in the middle. Now, what's between 9 and 7? 8. And that is how I solve that. There you go.